Hello and welcome to Per Ivars Fiskepur. Today we're going to tie this fly. This is a streamer called Fuzzy Streamer. I think I'm going to call it that. It's made of strong fuzzy fiber look-alike because this is an off-brand material I got some years ago. I found it in my cupboard, so I want to make use of it. It's very lively in the water. This fly contains of a few materials that I'm going to show you how to tie together to make this fly. And well, that's all I had to say about the fly in the introduction. So well, let's start on and tie this fly. Okay guys, the materials in this fly is this is kind of the material I've been using for most of the fly. It's called Super here. When I bought it from China, I think. But it looks like a strong fuzzy fiber. You see, I take out one fiber here, if I can see it. See, it's very crinkled. Make a lot of bulk when you tie it. It's very strong and it sheds water very good. Okay, that's the main part. All the white in this fly is made of that material. And I have this top part. It's an Arctic goat. I got this large hank of it. Very strong, very lively in the water, very nice to use. And the flash on this fly is two parts. The long and thickest flash is Flashabou in pearl. This comes from Fly Touch Dungeon. And I have these eyes on the fly. It's flat eyes like this in the color gold and black. And the hook I've been using for this fly, this off-brand hook, G300 high carbon steel. It's not very known brand, but I've been using this for several years, and it's cheap and it's very solid. It hasn't broken me yet, but catch a lot of fish with it. And I have some other flash in this fly. Is this Angelina fiber in blue. And I have used for the gills on this fly, I use this shorter here on this Naiad. It's also an Arctic goat. You see the short stubs here, I use for the gills inside the fly. Okay, and the tying thread I've been using is this GSP. I don't think you have to use GSP for this one, but I have one large spool of it, so well, I don't. And a little about glues I've been using. This is a Liquid Fusion. I advise you to go and get one of those. It's very nice glue. It doesn't dry up at once, and you have a little time to make this thing go together. All right. And to cover up this eyes, I use this kind of glue. This is a Gorilla Glue in clear. I got this large bottle here. It's very strong, a little bit flexible as well. And well, the tools I've been using this push tool from Stonefall. I'm not quite sure if this is a push tool what it is, but there is one large hole on this side and another hole on the other side. But you can use part of a big pen or whatever, cap on the bottle or well. And I use this dubbing needle from Stonefall. You can use whatever dubbing needle you want. I have this other dubbing needle head here. This is a hand drill, but I placed the needle on this tip there. That's a tip for you. And well, some scissors, free of choice, and some This is a tool called Stonefo Pitin comb. There's a velcro on this side and a comb on the other, but you can make your own. And last of all, I use this yarn on the bottom here. This is a very nice yarn. You can search it up in the internet. I think it's called large yarn or something, but use whatever white yarn you have that's very strong, and you can tear it up like this, because I have so much of it, so I used it. Now I covered all the materials, the hackle, sorry, the flash, the body, the gills, the eyes, the hook, the time train and tools. Well, that's all I had. So, well, follow on with the video. Well, this is the fly we're gonna tie tonight. This is how it's gonna look. Well, I start with taking this fly out of the vise and put in a new hook. And the vise for tonight is a Dynaking Indexer. Okay, we start on with using the thread. This is a GSP thread for tonight. I like that because it's very strong. You don't break on you. Snip it off. Wind back. And I take one part of this strong fuzzy fiber that's off brand. When I bought it some years ago, it was called Super Hair. And measure out how long the tail is gonna be, like that. I think it's about that. And measure out and snip off the waist, because I tie it in 60-40 fashion, and try to taper it as good as I can. This first bunch is gonna support the flash that's gonna go in there. Attach it and use this second one and go around. And control it. You can, if you want, unravel it just to make this go around more easily, like I just did. Make sure that you collect all the fibers to point backwards. And now you take your flash. I take about 3 long strands, I think, just about that, and measure out how long you want it to be, like that. It could be a little longer than the back body. About that. You can resize this later. Snip off this and taper it a little bit. Lay it on top. Measure out and take the other bundle that's pointing forwards. Make it surround the tail like that. You can snip this off later on. When you take this glue, it's a liquid fusion, make a little dab on this. This glue is gonna seep into this fly and make it strong. Now you take another bundle of this and you measure out about half the length of the tail, and as before I tie it in 60-40 fashion, about that. And if you take the second bundle and tie it in just back of this, it will build the more distance you have for each bundle you tie in, it become a more slimmer fashion, and I want that. So I don't want to scrub into the first bundle, so I just measure out there and some loose wrapping so I can distribute this all around the hook. This is very crinkled fiber, so it will make a little bulk. And you can take some push tool, or what you might call it. I have this one from Stonefo here. You can do this later on, but first I'm gonna put some Angelina fiber into this. I have this large bag here. You can get this in kilos. And I take out a little bundle because I want to make a little flash on this. Yeah. Measure out. You can tear it up because you don't have to use scissors on this. Put it on top like that. Tear out some fibers if you want. And to reinforce this little baby, you take some more glue in the insertion point. Alright. And then you take your push tool, push it around, surround all this flash and everything. Make your fingers, make it goes point backwards. You see now? You already have some flash on this. Alright. And proceed with your tying thread and measure out the next bunch of this, and about half the length of the first one, the last one, sorry. Around the bunch we go, and use your point and middle finger, or thumb and forefinger, what you might call it, to push this around the hook, and add some more long flashy blue fibers now. And you can double it over and snip it off because this fiber is very long. And measure out how long you want this. I want this just about this, and you can measure out, taper this, not so long as the first bunch, and some more glue onto the babies. You want it to be strong, you want it to add security, not going out like this. You push it. You can use your fingers to do this, or some parts of a pen or something. Everything's possible. Just have some hollow thing to just push it backwards. Alright. Now I want to make a little gill on this fly. You see now? And the gills are gonna be, I have this. On the first fly I used some, you can use whatever you want, of course. I use this orange, maybe I should use just the same, to look at the same. I use this one. Just this, this is a piece of knife or Arctic goat, and snip off this under here, and there's a use for this. It's not so long, but it's gonna not be so long. So you take and snip, turn this fly around and measure out, make it go there. You see, this could have loosened up a little bit, and push this a little bit backwards, And you see now it's gonna be nice gills or trout or everything. And now you take another bundle of this strong fascia fiber. Of course, the brand name that I bought it from was Super here, but I think it's gonna be called strong fascia fiber nowadays. I have this large hank here. It's about 1 meter long. I got it all kinds of things in my cupboard, and I take this piece and make it measure out. I don't want the profile to be too thick because this is gonna be a sea bass fly, not a pike fly, but in larger sizes you can use it for pike as well. And you tie it in about 60-40, so this is a little long. Measure out like that. Now I can see if my measurement has gone AWOL. And use the thumb and forefinger to push it down on the hook and turn it around, and some more gills is coming up. Take a little piece of this and snip it off, and like this, just fill it up and let it go around in this fashion. And some glue are coming up, little dab will go a long way with this stuff. See now the taper is, well, it's coming there, and you use your I think I've got enough flash, but I have some more blue Angelina fiber on top, little flashy thing, this fly on top here. Measure out and use your push tool, push it all together backwards. Tie it in reverse. Now it's getting more and more complete with this fly. I take this another bundle, shorter bundle of this Super here, and try to push it down to the hook like this. Now turn it around, and the last bundle of gills are coming up. Take some short fibers, make use of them too, not just the long one. And try to not turn it around. Use this rotation function on the vise, is very useful. Like this. Now there is some place onto the hook bend, hook eye. Now we're gonna add some more glue, and around we go, and the push tool again, separate it like this. Now the final part is going on. We're gonna have a blue top of this, and I'm gonna have some special yarn. I have this very nice fluffy yarn I got. It's very nice. I'm not quite if it's synthetic or something, but I'll try to tell what kind of yarn it is in the description. And on top I use this Arctic Goat long blue fibers. I find a nice bundle here. Just have to pick it out. Snip it off onto the skin. I always do that and snip all the way into the skin so you don't leave any short stubs. And I try to comb this out with the fuzzy fibers, get all the short ones out. I don't want that, but you can use this for a dubbing later or other things. Well, now you can see I measure out. I want it to be just as long as the body, maybe a little longer. And I take this, snip it up, put it aside, and make a little taper on this, a little bit, because it's gonna be tied in reverse. Maybe I should not, but I think I'm gonna not build too much bulk on this, so I'm gonna snip this off here. Is that a smart thing? I don't know, but I put it on top here. You have to adjust. You have to adjust it if it's not going to be just the way you want it, so you adjust it. And I snip this off the stumps here. I think it's gonna make some problems for me when I'm gonna tie this backwards. Now this is the front upper part, the blue one, and I want some white belly on this, and for that I use this kind of yarn. Now the same procedure here, just make it, because I want these gills to be some kind of bleeding towards out. It's a crap English, sorry. I use the same measure out just a little beyond the hook point, like that. And snip it off like that. Okay, and use your force. May the force be with you guys, because now it's all coming together. Now we're gonna make some whip finish by hand, and the way you do this, it's like this. And use your point of your scissors to just make the knot going just where you want it. And this is a GSP thread. So the way I cut this is I make the scissors like this and just push it towards the thread. Voila! All this coming together. Now I take this backwards, and the under one and the side becomes like this, and it's all come together. And I make this, use this little clip to keep it all together. And I'm not very successful with just that, so I try once more. You see, now you have this nice shape of this fly, and to make it all stick like this, I use this liquid fusion, and I put this, make a little dab of it just around the front here, and I use my dubbing needle. That's full of glue, of course. And just stroke it backwards, because if you have UV resin, of course you could do this with a, it's gonna be very nice, very fast, but I don't use UV resin anymore because I've been allergic to it. So like this. You can also take, I forgot that, but I'm gonna do that now because this glue has not dried anything yet. Just make it go bleed into each other like this, as you see. Turn it around. This was a little mistake for me, but I'm gonna manage to salvage, what's that English name for it? You see now it's looking more like I wanted it to be. You got this bleeds into each other, and see now, just make this fly look very nice. It's gonna be a nice fly to have in the box. I think it's gonna be a little look like this, but well, it's hand tied. Bit difference is gonna be. You see now, you can blow on it, try to make it dry a little bit, and take off the clip. See now, try to distribute the top and bottom. Like this. And now the ice is gonna go on. I'm gonna find my flat ice. I have it somewhere in the nearby. Here you have it. Okay, this is about 5mm flat ice in gold and black, and I'm gonna use this, peel it off, this paper, what you might call it. I used the first of all, of course, I'm gonna put a little dab of the liquid fusion onto the fly. Nice dab of glue on each side. This glue is gonna seep into the fly and disappear. Just disappear. And you take your ice. Use the point of your dubbing needle like this. Just push it from your thumb and onto your dab of glue, and use the point of the dubbing needle and push it into the glue. This ice is gonna stay on, and at late after the drying has been ready, I can take some other glue to cover it all up, but it's quite not necessary. Like this. And now you try to just measure out and make it go and dry this fly. And the nice thing about this fly, you can use your scissor and just cut this little to a more shape if you want, because this is a knot. This is as well, that's a lot of difficult English words tonight. But there you have it. Now this fly is gonna get on the dryer, and is gonna be there and turn around. Okay, I'm gonna show you. Here's another type I made with the same fibers, but this one I'm gonna use some SF blend on top. But if not happy with the color, and if you think the top layer is too thin, you can always try to just use the same color with a marker to make it go more thicker or more dense blue color. I think that's all right. You can take it out and put it in the dryer afterwards, but first I'm gonna show you what I do when to cover it all up with some other glue. This is the Gorilla Glue clear. I'm gonna cover this eye with this glue. The eye is gonna have some little 3D effect, but I think the tip is more or less plugged up, so I'm gonna use my dubbing needle just to make a little opening like this and squeeze on this bottle. It's cold here, so the bottle is more or less filled with cold glue. See, it's gonna be some air bubbles in this, but that's not so very important. To avoid most of this, you can put this on a paper or something, but that was one side. Take this another side, squeeze out a little dab. Well, that was not very good. I'm gonna take it out, make a larger hole on this. Try to just squeeze out. Oh. So as we're more satisfied with the first one. This is gonna dry up and be very strong and very invisible. So that's all I had for this tying session. This is the fuzzy streamer. I think I was gonna call it that. So well, afterwards I'm gonna show you, well, first of all, what kind of we do, what kind of well, I'm gonna show you what kind of materials I've been using in this fly. Okay, so follow on.